Hello, my name is Raven Garza. I'm taking this Introduction to Communication course. Today, I'd like to describe my culture and explain how it influences my communication on large and small scales. I've grown up in more southern parts of the United States with separated, hardworking parents, and so I tend to have more of an individual look on, especially work um, and schoolwork. Although I enjoy being part of a good team, I do see a lot of benefits in putting more of myself into the work and feeling that I get more out of it from working individually. This also might be affected by the fact that I've been the new student a couple times, and not always, but some of the times I would solely work individually, and that might influence my relationship with it. Um, while I definitely use individual um, styles of communication and styles of thinking, I also see the value in collectivist and feminine styles of communication, especially when discussing or even thinking about other things that I might not be familiar with, like other cultures or knowledge that I might not know, especially with world issues and really with just anything that's outside of my personal culture. I like to be open to. I pride myself on being my best. I'm striving to be my best, and so I also feel that in order to do that, I need to be able to be welcoming and understanding as well. This brings me to my next point. In order to be really welcoming, I have to pay attention to my nonverbal communication, which is my demeanor, my tone, my clothes, and I have to pay attention to this almost as much as the words that I actually say. Nonverbal communication is very important. It can definitely influence the message being sent, influence it, heighten it, lower it, and so I definitely see it as its own language and see the value in it. Um, I've spent much of my life in a uh, somewhat diverse military town in Oklahoma, and a few years after, actually, I started school in Kentucky, I realized that I had a somewhat culturally mixed friend group. In my friend group, I noticed that sometimes cultural issues would come up, definitely more than they came up in my normal life. But these cultural issues would come up because of the comfortable atmosphere of the friend group. And a lot of times they come up from subtle, nonverbal messages that just didn't work well with the message actually trying to be sent. And I definitely see the reward to the effort in staying aware of my personal culture, being culturally aware, and not only of myself, but how my culture may be different than others that I'm speaking to or communicating with. And I definitely see that making choices with this is important. Another form of making choices to influence my message is the clothes that I wear. Obviously, I'm dressed up for this. I wear different clothes for different days that incorporate different things, simply to present myself differently. Other than in group settings or at times, um, I or at times such as this, I communicate to so many, and that's because clothes are really um, very powerful forms of mass communication as well as nonverbal communication. Communicating to communicating to many people is mass communication, and it is very powerful. Many would agree that having so many people interconnected is very powerful. And although I don't tend to mass communicate online or mass communicate on social media, things such as that, I am definitely from the age of new tech, and most of the most embraced developments are social. And so these powerful social movements, such as the one we're having right now, the major racial justice movement we're having right now, it's in many ways eased along by the nature of the internet, by the fluid nature of the internet, as well as freedom of the press and how it's really helped the nation to grow in many ways. Those are some positive examples, but there are of course negative. Um, People who use their power, the power of mass communication, to wrongly influence an audience or others in general, from bitter rulers to spreaders of really just false information. I have a I have unique experiences, of course, and values, and so I definitely have a unique culture and perspective, understanding of nonverbal communication as well as mass communication. I definitely feel that I'll continue to learn as I experience and come across new things, especially as I've learned from being a new student, going through intercultural conflicts, and being in such a relationship with um, social media, mass communication. I definitely feel that I've learned and I will continue to learn for many years to come.